Very good morning, my dear boys of class 12. Today I am going to start the chapter Training Methods, Training in Sports. The first topic of this chapter is the definition of training, define training. So, what is training? I know that we have heard the term training and you know the concept of training also, but what exactly training is, you may not write. Training is very much necessary in all the games and sports, and not only in games and sports, in all the profession, in all the professions, training is very much necessary. So, in the concept of physical education, when games and sports is concerned, training is the systematic arrangement of exercises to prepare a sports person both physically and mentally, psychologically, for a competition or a tournament. Training provides self confidence to the players, which is very necessary. Now I am coming into again training. Training is the systematic arrangement of the exercises with a dosage to prepare a sports person, both psychologically and physically, for a competition or tournament. And to perform well in tournament, training is highly necessary. Without training, a sportsman cannot do well. He must be trained, and training is very necessary. So this is the definition of Matthew, which is very clear and very apt and suggestive, appropriate definition of training. There are so many definitions, but I think this is the easiest definition and the very good definition of training. This is the first topic, first question of this chapter. Define training. Next, strength, classification of strength and how to improve strength. Strength के लिए तीन छोटा छोटा क्वेश्चंस है. Definition of strength, classify strength, classification of the strength, types of strength, and what are the methods of developing strength. So question number 2 of this chapter, question number 2 is define strength. Strength is the ability to overcome resistance. In one sentence, it can be defined. Strength is the ability to overcome resistance. A certain amount of strength is necessary for all to follow the schedule from sunrise to sunset. But a sportsman needs specific strength to perform well in their specific events, because the strength which a weightlifter needs is quite different from the strength which a sprinter needs, or it may be quite different from a long distance runner's need. So all the strengths are different. Specific strengths are needed for specific types of games and sports. Now the classification of strength. Strength may broadly be divided into two types: dynamic strength and static strength. So what is dynamic strength? Now dynamic strength is generated. Dynamic strength is that strength which is produced or which is generated by the movements of the muscles, by the movements of the limbs, by the contraction and expansion of muscles. This is dynamic strength. When we are in motion, when we are running, we are lifting weight, we are excuse me. We are throwing discus, so we need strength, and naturally movement is going on and we need strength. And number 2 is static strength. Static strength, the application of static strength is the application of static strength is very limited. Static strength is the strength which we produce without movement. Suppose when a weightlifter is getting ready to lift the weight, but the actual movement has not begun. So this is, or a diver, he has gone on a springboard board diving, he is going to perform, or he is going to perform just before the diving, he or she is getting ready, and in the static position he or she generates strength, that is static strength, though the application of static strength is very limited, very less in comparison to dynamic strength. Now the classification of dynamic strength I am coming in the next video. Thank you very much.